Today, a new chapter in this land's history shall be written by our own hand.
All right, let's just jump right into it. For years now, Crimson Desert has been this dream game for a lot of us, right? It's been wrapped up in a ton of hype, but also, a healthy amount of skepticism. The trailers, they looked absolutely epic, incredibly ambitious, maybe too ambitious? But after all this waiting, the first hands-on reports are finally out. So what's the real deal here? I mean, the one question that has been hanging over this game forever is any of it real? You know what I'm talking about. Those absolutely bonkers combat moves, riding dragons, piloting giant mechs, is that actual gameplay? Or was it all just some, beautifully edited fever dream? Well, today we're gonna dig into what the people who finally gotten their hands on it are saying. We're gonna find out what's dream and what's reality. So, Section 1, too good to be true, a long and winding road. And yet, to really get what Crimson Desert is today, we've got to take a quick look at what it was. Because believe me, the journey from its first announcement to right now, it's been a wild ride with some huge changes that pretty much define the game we're getting. And man, what a roller coaster it's been. If you look at this timeline, it all started back in late 2019. It was supposed to be an MMO, right? A prequel to Black Desert Online. Then, bam, December 2020, the Game Awards trailer drops and the internet just loses its mind. The hype was through the roof. But then, radio silence for a long time. Delays, rumors, a lot of us thought it was dead in the water. But it came roaring back at Gamescom 2023, and it was a totally different beast. No longer an MMO. It was now a single-player, story-focused action game. And listen, that pivot from MMO to single-player, that is the absolute key to understanding why this game is the way it is. All right, next up, gameplay, insane and real. The fever dream is confirmed. So, okay, that's the backstory. But that doesn't answer the big one, does it? Was all that crazy stuff in the trailers real? Well, after people have spent hours actually playing it, the reports are in, and the answer is a massive, resounding yes. The fever dream is real, folks. All those unbelievable over-the-top moments, they're not cutscenes, they're actual core gameplay mechanics. And I think this quote from a journalist just sums it up perfectly. They said, "The combat system is nuts. It's a delightfully absurd high fantasy rampage with absolutely zero restraint." And I want you to hang on to that last part, zero restraint, because that's the whole theme here. And when they say zero restraint, they are not kidding. I mean, just look at this stuff. This is a true combat sandbox. You're not just swinging a sword here. You're doing things like chaining basic attacks with elemental magic. You're pulling off honest-to-God WWE moves, RKOs, clotheslines, the whole thing. You've got a grappling hook to just yeet enemies, or yourself, around. You can do these huge force-like pushes, meteor kicks from the sky. Oh, and you can swap between 3 different playable characters in the middle of a fight. And yeah, of course, you can ride dragons and pilot mechs into battle. It's clear the goal here isn't just to win a fight, it's to win it in the most absolutely ridiculous, stylish, I gotta clip that way you can imagine. Okay, moving on to the world itself, a sandbox without borders. Or, as I like to think of it, an MMO in a single-player game. Because that everything and the kitchen sink approach, it definitely doesn't stop with the combat. The world itself feels like it has an MMO's worth of things to do, all packed into one experience. It's a world that is basically designed to distract you constantly. And this right here really shows you the difference in thinking. On one side, you've got your standard open world game, right? Main quest hubs, clearing out enemy camps, just following markers on a map. You know the drill. But then you look at Crimson Desert. We're talking about arm wrestling in taverns, playing rock, paper, scissors with kids, and literally having a GTA-style getaway after you steal a goat. You might spend your time cleaning some guy's chimney for a quest, or, and this is my favorite, petting a stray cat until it decides it likes you enough to become your personal loot collecting buddy. The world is just stuffed with these weird, quirky, emergent things to do. But maybe the coolest, most fascinating part of all this is how you learn to do everything. It's a system that's all about emergent gameplay. Basically, learning by doing. Or more like learning by watching. So check this out. You can't just use a shovel because you find one. No. You have to actually find someone in the world, like a farmer who's digging. You watch them do it, and only then do you learn how to do it yourself. And this applies to all sorts of things, fighting moves, crafting, you name it. It's all designed to make you explore and discover things for yourself, not just click a button in a skill tree.
Okay, let's talk about the catch, the price of ambition. Because
I mean, this all sounds incredible, right? A wild combat system, a world overflowing with stuff to do. There's got to be a downside. And yep, according to everyone who's played it, there is. And the ironic part is that the game's biggest strengths seem to be directly tied to its biggest weaknesses. This is what happens when you're this ambitious. And you can really see that trade-off right here. So on one hand, you have that incredibly deep, amazing combat. The price for that? Overwhelming and really complex controls. Then you have the total freedom to explore this world. The catch? The puzzles have zero hand-holding, like none. And finally, you have this almost endless amount of content to dive into. What's the cost? Well, apparently the main story feels a bit weak and disjointed, especially at the start. So let's talk about those controls first, because, yeah, button confusion is apparently a real thing. We're told that literally every single button on the controller gets used, and often for more than one action, depending on the context. So it leads to a lot of messing up, hitting the wrong thing, and a really steep learning curve. But hey, that's the price you pay when you want to have a wrestling move, a magic spell, a grappling hook, and a parry all ready to go at the same time. And that same philosophy, that total freedom, that also applies to the puzzles. Look, if you're one of those people who is sick and tired of modern games holding your hand, with that yellow paint on every single ledge you're supposed to climb, well, I have good news for you. Crimson Desert gives you absolutely nothing. No hints, no guidance, nada. Apparently, journalists at the event had to team up and talk to each other just to figure stuff out. Now, for some people, that sounds amazing. For others, that's going to be a huge, massive point of frustration. So let's wrap this up. What's the final verdict? Well, it seems to be one of cautious optimism. It feels like everyone came away saying, okay, this game is absolutely real, it's packed with some genius ideas, and it's a ton of fun. But, and it's a big but, its whole more is more design philosophy is definitely a double-edged sword. And this one quote, I think, just gets to the absolute core of what this game is. It's as though every idea, every feature pitch has been fleshed out into its own full-bodied mechanic. It's a game that was basically born from, let's call it, mechanical gluttony. It honestly feels like during development, the team just never said no to a single idea. They just built it. Okay, so let's just boil this all down to the key takeaways. What do you need to remember? First, all that insane action from the trailers, it's 100% real. Second, the world is this super dense sandbox just full of things to discover. Third, and this is crucial, the game's biggest strengths, all that complexity and freedom, are also its biggest weaknesses. You have to be ready for a really steep learning curve for both the controls and the puzzles. And finally, it's pretty clear the focus here is on gameplay and letting the player do whatever they want, not necessarily on telling a super deep emotional story. So in the end, it's like this. The developers tried to make a game that has literally everything in it. And you know what? Based on what we're hearing, it kind of seems like they actually pulled it off. So the question isn't really whether they succeeded anymore. The real question is about you. It's about us, the players. In a world of games that are so streamlined and focused, are we ready for something this overwhelming, this unrestrained? Are you ready for the everything bagel of video games? I guess that's the question you're gonna have to answer for yourself.